Today, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders kicked off his campaign for president.
He's a long shot.
A long shot.
I don't think he's going to be taken too credibly.
Bernie Sanders is a socialist, for God's sakes.
I do want to move on to Donald Trump and the Republicans.
I wish you could be president. Yeah, me too.
Mr. Sanders has had 10 times less coverage than his rival Hillary Clinton and 18 times less than the Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. With 26% support of the Democratic voters, Bernie Sanders received as much national media coverage as candidate Chris Christie, who enjoys less than 4% of the Republican voters' support.
The Tyndall report found ABC's World News Tonight, for example, devoted 81 minutes to Trump campaign stories up till the end of November this year, and just 20 seconds to Sanders.
Since joining the staff of the New York Times, Maggie Haberman has written about Sanders on fewer than a handful of occasions, while she's written about the other candidates in the race more often. It makes no sense for Martin O'Malley to have more articles written about him than Bernie Sanders has written about him.
I'm just surprised at how much we're talking about Bernie Sanders now. Like, I never and
deal with it.
Usually they highlight his age and his hair, and they call him a socialist, whereas socialist and democratic socialist are not interchangeable terms.
Bernie Sanders and hair.
A thick Brooklyn accent.
He's 73 years old. He looks 91.
Is there a little crusty?
He's alone, isn't he?
He owns a VHS copy of Tootsie.
That last one seemed like kind of a weird slam.
He's violating the cardinal rule of our political media game here, and that is, if you want attention, you have to attack, smash, bash your opponent.
Well, we're on to the fighting part. We've already dispensed with ignoring, which they did in the earlier part of the campaign, and you saw it very clearly. Then we got to the laughing. Democratic Socialists, come on. Most liberal member of the Senate. No. Seek that he tied in Iowa and is leading in New Hampshire. Now we've gotten to stage 3. They fight. So let me go to the attacks here. In the middle of the article, they explain, but the reason Mr. Sanders is drawing his big crowds is neither his fanatical sincerity nor his avuncular charm. It's that he's preaching class hatred to people besotted by the politics of envy.
I am not a single issue candidate.
Quote, Bernie Sanders' fiction-filled campaign.
No, I think the media is giving Bernie a pass right now. I very rarely read in any coverage of Bernie that he's a socialist.
Socialism, a harmless thing until it finds real power, then it's deadly.
And all of a sudden, oh, Bernie.
Right.
I think it's, I think Bernie is too liberal.
No big insurance companies, just more government spending, paid for by raising taxes on Wall Street, big business, and the super rich. Senator Bernie Sanders, too liberal for Iowa.
He wants free tuition for colleges, a great idea if you think money grows on bongs.
But I will say this. I actually made the largest contribution allowable to the campaign of Bernie Sanders. I made a contribution to Bernie Sanders' campaign. Yes. I believe because the Democratic frontrunner right now is unfortunately someone who has taken millions and millions of dollars from many dictatorships. I would much rather have Bernie Sanders be the Democratic frontrunner than a person who takes money from dictatorships, unquestionably. And at the same time, on the Republican side, you have the frontrunner who believes that Putin is fine, and that is awful as well.
You say that's a problem as well.
In both parties
have to get you to...
Well, let me ask you about Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders,
We can only
is breathing down Hillary's neck.
No.
He's ahead.
She's ahead. She's trying to catch up with him.
Right.
Sanders has received over 2 million contributions so far, putting him in position to shatter Obama's record of 2.2 million. The average donation to Sanders is less than $30.
In case you didn't notice, this is a big turnout.
And Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is now generating huge crowds at nearly every event. Monday night in Portland, Maine, the audience numbered more than 7,500. Last week at a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, Sanders attracted 10,000.
Almost everything that they have reported about this campaign has turned out to be inaccurate. I am very, very excited when I read in the Washington Post today from some write-up who said that that, quote, all the pundits are calling the race for Clinton. That means we're probably going to win in a landslide.